Hi everyone, Adrian here, and today we are going to be creating a writing project database in Notion. Now, if you've not played with Notion, I did a video on what it was and what it did. Um, we're going to make this super simple. So if you've played around with Notion and you've done things already, then this is probably going to be super simple. We are in future videos going to make things a lot more complex, but I kind of want to build it up bit by bit. So if you've not done anything in Notion before, this is going to be kind of a good thing to start with, because it's going to be super simple and get you started. And if you're worried, like, well, I want something more advanced, we'll layer more complexity on top as we go. So what we've got here is my sample Notion. It's my test Notion, if you like. Haven't got anything in there. I've just literally got my 5 life pillars, of one of which is fiction. So we want to add a writing project database. So add a page. What do we want? We actually want a gallery. This is the way that we're going to do this. We're going to make this nice, pretty, with uh, lots of information that we can use. So, okay. So we're going to say, let's do a gallery. Okay, right. So they've given you some things in here. So first things we want to do is we want to call this the writing projects database. Now you might say, why do I need a writing projects database? Okay. If you are, I'm going to use the word serious writer, and I don't mean that to cause any offense, but you could be doing this full time, you could be doing this part time. It just means that it's something more than it's something I just do for myself. That you want to be able to sell things. Now, if you are just the type of writer who, you know what, I don't ever show my work to anybody, I'm just quite happy just writing for me, like doing a journal or something like that. Nothing wrong with that at all. Um, but if you want to be a serious writer, it's probably the wrong phrase, but again, please don't take offense. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want a pipeline. Um, and what that means is that, because what you might do at the moment is you sit down and you write Lord of the Rings. Okay, so you've sat down and you've written Lord of the Rings, and that takes a lot of work, and you do. And yes, you do need a break at the end of it. But then you come and you go, right, what am I going to write as a sequel? Okay, and then um, you start having to plan. But nobody works like that all the time. When you're in the weeds of writing Lord of the Rings, you're going to be start saying, well, wouldn't it be great if I did a different type of book? And you have these ideas. So what you can even do is, even if you're not planning to do any work on it, you can just start gathering the ideas up. And what you would ideally like to do is that once you finish Lord of the Rings, you have that moment where you just collapse, but that your next project is kind of ready to start in sort of 3 or 4 weeks, so that you've done most of most of the characters, you kind of know the plot, you've built the world out ready for it. So it you basically then get this kind of pipeline, and you don't have these huge gaps. um you know so right, it's given us an example. We don't want this information. We don't want any of this. So it's Notion trying to be helpful. We don't want it to be helpful. Okay. So we've come into the first one here, and we've just deleted that information because it's not what we want. And what we're going to do is we're going to be looking at the properties here. Do we want that one, the created time? Nope. Let's delete it. Yep. Okay. We'll leave the tags one in there for now because I don't know. Perhaps we can delete that as well. I was just wondering we're going to break our database. So we are going to write the name up here. So this is going to be the name. Okay. We then want a project date. Okay. We're going to come down. So all we're going to do here is going to come down to here, and we are going to select date. Okay. Now you might say what we are going to we will be doing is doing start and end dates, but because we've selected date as what the type is, then we are going to it takes care of it. Notion's got that already done. So we've got the project date. The next property that we want, and I want you to have a think. You may think of different things that you want to do. We'll have some more information down the bottom here. We let us have. We will have our project date. We will want to know type, and we are going to make it. Maybe type's not the right word. Maybe stage. Now let's leave it as type. We'll do stage afterwards. Right. So type. What I mean by type is, and we're setting this up now for ourselves. So is this a first draft? So just type it in. You see, and it says down here, create first draft. Let's create that. So let's do another one. So we have a first draft, and edit. We could outline. We could be outlining it. We could have ideas. So I'm thinking of the different stages this project could be at. So I'm going to put this as stage. There we go. We can always go back and change things, which is really good. So even if you do make a mistake, don't worry. So your first edit, outline, beta readers. We could have the beta reader stages, and changes however you want. So what we're trying to do is just get these deep ones to select from. Ideas in your outline, you first draft it, you edit, revisions, submission. Just putting these in here. And this will help with all the future ones. Submission, rejected in there. Yeah, you might only want a few of these. I only have a few in mind. So trunked. So we've trunked the novel. We're not going to be doing anything with it. Published. You might have accepted in there, all things like that. So we do. Now, all those are in a little bit of a mess. So what we're going to do, see these little 6 dots. So we're going to. So we want ideas, then first draft. Then we'll do an edit on it. Then we'll send it to our beta readers. Oh, outline is before the first draft. Revisions, submission. Yeah, we could have it in that order. Right, so, okay, we've got that. So it does the colors. You can, if you want to change the colors, I believe you can do it there. Yeah, you can swap what colors they are. So, so that for each one that we do, we can say what stage it is. Now, I put type earlier, and this is also, notice we have select and multi-select. Now, multi-select, we're going to do this one as a multi-select, allows you to have more than one item in here. So the type we could have, let's make this one, we're going to do genre. We'll have that one as multi-select because the other one works. So genre, yeah. So we would have that would have. So we could have fantasy. Same thing. We're just clicking on them to create them. If you just press return, it will do the same. You can go back in. So fantasy, sci-fi. So we create sci-fi. So notice now it's got more than one in there because we selected multi-select. So romance. We want romance. We want trying to think what people write. Erotica. Memoir. Fantasy, sci-fi, romance, a crime. Thriller. Cool. So we can have all of those now. You might say we don't want. It's only a sci. It's a sci-fi romance. We're not by clicking up there and ticking. We're not affecting these. So let's. I keep missing type. I keep leaving this one to last, but here we go. So we are gonna do this one as a select, and we are going to have in here short story. Novel. Short story. Novel. Novella. Flash fiction, couldn't we? Depends what you write. You know, you might write script. Maybe non-fiction you do. So there we go. So, and again, what we've done is because that one's a select rather than a multi-select, we can only have one. And I think that should have been at the start. So I'm going to drag it. See what I've done is I've just literally gone on those little dots and dragged it because I want it nearer at the start. So we've got quite a bit of information there now already about our project. We know when we started, when we were working on it, what stage it's currently at, the genres it's for. So, what else would we want it to? We could create a template. There we go. So we might want to put down here. So what I've done, let me show you what I've done. So on here, it said create a template, so we're going to actually do that. So what we're doing here is that we're creating the template that we're going to use for all new writing pieces. So what we would probably want is we would want a synopsis. So we're going to write this below where it says a comments. So let's make this turn into a heading one. So we're just going to leave it and we're going to leave it empty. We might have beta reader feedback. Now you might say, "Oh, well, we need to link this to my character database." Well, you could have characters in there, but we might build something. We're going to keep this really simple. If you looked at mine, you would have seen word count. You'll see. I'm trying to think what else there would be. There's word count. There is links to when I've worked on it in my daily tasks. We'll add those in as we go along. We're trying to keep this fairly simple, but these are just areas where you would just write. Okay, so now you might say, why put them here? Why not put them in the database? You could do. It's just these fields are fairly. I mean, you've got enough space probably to put some stuff in. You can have text fields, but because there's a lot of text, you'd probably put it below. So beta reader feedback, agent feedback maybe. Let's make sure that when we've added it, so we know, let's change that. So what we've done is we've clicked on the add icon. We're not going to do add a cover because we're going to make these individual. But for all our projects, let's just, they all have an icon. There we go. of the books. So, so now what should happen, if I click off of that, go into here, can we edit the name of that? I think you might have to put it there. If we say this is template, it's going to check. There we go. So I'll show you when we create a new one, we can basically, instead of having to create those titles each time, we can use a template to create that one. So you'll notice we haven't done a cover yet, but here we go. We're literally setting things up. So let's create our first book. We're going to use, we've got our project here. We want to get those bits that we set up. So we click the template. We go, look, there we go. It's brought these things in that we've set up. So now we want to call this Lord of the Rings. Okay, and we want to add a cover. So it will just automatically give us like a default one. So let's change the cover. We can upload one. Look at this, like I was prepared. Lord of the Rings. So there we go. Okay, we can click reposition so we get a nice picture of Frodo and Gandalf. There we go. Save that position. Okay. So you'll go, well, wait a minute, isn't showing here. So what we want to do, we're coming over to this corner. Come over here, look on properties, and the card preview, you see, we want to change that to the page cover. There we go. And we could have information maybe showing here. So we've got the name, but maybe we'd want to put the project dates on. It would do because we haven't added them. There we go. So the project date. So this is now we're filling this out. So we've got Lord of the Rings. And you can go forth and add data and change data as you go. But obviously, if you delete these, you delete it for all the records that you've got. So you can always add properties in at a later date. So we're going to start this on the 1st of September. And we're going to click down here to end date. And we're going to have this book written by the end of the year. Okay. What is it? It is a novel. What stage it is? We are doing our first draft on it. And do we want to make it a sci-fi romance? You know what? Let's make it just a fantasy novel. So we can make notes to ourselves. So maybe Gollum is great. This is the thing. But agents say this will never sell. So you can see how we start building this up. Right? It's super simple. But there we go. So let's do some for the other records. They give you 3 records here. You could delete these and just create new, but let's do that actually. Tries to give you sort of sample information, but it actually causes more hassle. So we click new. Oh crap, we needed to use our template, didn't we? So we just click template down there. There we go. Brings it all up. If we don't use our template, we still have the fields here. We can just click template at a different time. So, right, this one we're going to have as Lord of the Flies. This is going to be epic, I tell you. So our project date for that is, well, we want to do this after we do after we do Lord of the Rings. But we only have a month to do this one because it's a smaller book. So what's this one? It's a short. It's a novel, not short story. Actually, let's make it a short story. We're gonna do a short story version. We're still in the idea stage of it. Now, you might want to put, as I say, you might want to say, well, actually, the idea stage is when I do the project. It's how you organise your work. I always sort of think of the writing, the major writing, as my project date. And I might, if I've done a first draft and I come to revise something, I may change the project date. Always update it. And this is going to be a, I haven't really got thriller. So shipwrecked. Put that there. Let's add a cover. Gives us the sample one. And like sometimes for what I do for fiction projects, obviously I'm cheating here because I'm choosing things that already exist. So there's easy things to find on the internet. But literally, I'll kind of find something that kind of suits the vibe of what I'm going for. So if like a major inspiration for something. So let's go into this one. So we might decide we have to work on this one at the same time. Sometimes that happens if you're doing commercial work. You will have come across this where you've got to work on two things at the same time. Type is it's a script. We're writing the stage of it. We're in the revisions of it. The genre, fantasy memoir. I once actually went through a portal to Narnia. Oh, we forgot to click our template, but doesn't matter because we can just pull it in there. One thing I have noticed that does happen in Notion, if you add a cover and then you add your template, it will sometimes wipe your cover out. So just be aware of that. So, cover. So there we go. So we can maybe sort these. You can do things where you can add a view. So let's do. Let's say this one. Let's add the filter in. So add a filter. So where the stage is not trunked. Okay. So that's not going to change anything here. However, if we change this stage to trunked, it will disappear. Do you see? So if we come over here, we have different gallery views. So we can add lots of views. So let's just say novels. And you can do different things where you add like a calendar view, timeline view. It gets really complicated, but there we go. We've got a view, gallery view. We've got our all novels view, but in our gallery view, we're only going to have those novels that we haven't trunked. So these are our active projects. Okay, we could say, well, actually, add a view. We want it to be gallery view, and we want it to be everything. Okay, so we could rename this. There we go. Yep. Non-active projects. So you can see how you can start doing some really interesting things here. We have these as all sort of drops down. So this will only list projects which we have active, i.e. we have not trunked the project. You might say, well, if it's published. is not published either. So you can build up these kind of different types of view. Now, it's not going to make any change here because we've only got a few examples. But we've now got a project database. And as I say, I haven't added a ton of stuff here. And you're going to say, well, you've probably thought of something that you'd want in there. By all means, then you just add the property in. If it's, as I say, with text, I don't know what the limit is. Probably something like 512 characters or something like that. But if you tried to post a synopsis in there, it might get a bit more. It could get quite. You could overflow, and you wouldn't have enough room. So you are kind of restricted. But you can, as I say, you could have a checkbox. You could have a URL maybe. All different things. We will start later on. We'll start playing around with here, but we're not going to do that with the formulas and relations, because what we can eventually do is once we have got our word tracker up and running, is we can link it to which writing project that we've worked on, and basically in here get like how many words we've written so far, so we can add some kind of advanced tracking. But this is the foundation. So have a go, have a play, see if you can create your own fiction database, play around with the different views, and let me know how you get on in the comments below. Let's say fairly simple one, but we will build on it in weeks to come. So thanks everyone. Have a great rest of your day. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you again next time. Take care.